The Rangers are back in the ALCS for the first time since 2011, and of course, they're going to face off against their interstate rival, the Houston Astros. On today's show, we're breaking down everything you need to know about the Silver Boot ALCS, all that and more on this episode of Locked On Rangers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked onto the Texas Rangers. I'm Bryce Patrick, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan covering this team for 10 seasons, including all 5 as the founder and host of Locked On Rangers. Here we are. The ALCS is finally almost upon us, at least. Today is Thursday, October 12th, and your Texas Rangers are facing off against those stinking Houston Astros in the ALCS starting on Sunday. Thank you all so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. If you're not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Patrick. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Hit subscribe on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to listen every single day and comment nearly any single thing below. Now, I am terrified. I am thrilled. I am screaming, crying, throwing up because the Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros are playing in the ALCS, and God help us all. I can't believe that the government is letting this happen. I mean, I feel like we're all in real danger of this entire state burning down. Whether you're a Rangers fan, whether you're an Astros fan, this next week is going to be absolute unbridled chaos. Truly one of the most chaotic ALCSs I think we will ever see, outside of 2004 Yankees versus Red Sox. But there was no Twitter back then. There weren't a whole lot of YouTube comment sections. There wasn't as much online animosity back then. So this might be the most heated playoff series I think we might just ever see. These two teams hate each other. These two fan bases hate each other. I have a lot of Houston Astros friends. Also, shout out to my poor friend Matt McCutcheon, lifelong Rangers fan who is married to an Astros fan and living in Houston. I worry about that man. Best of luck to you. Stay safe. Stay safe, Matt. But to all my Astros fans, friends, in the rest of their lives, in most of their lives, in their professional lives, in their personal lives, I hope they have great success. I hope they have all the happiness in the world. I hope they have, wonderful relationships with their spouses, with their friends, with their kids. I hope their jobs are fulfilling and happy. I hope every other aspect of their life is truly sensational, because I love my friends. But if you're my friend and you're an Astros fan, I hope your watching your baseball team brings you nothing but pain and suffering. I hope they go 0-162. I hope they lose in painful, awful, ugly ways. I hope they make mind-boggling decisions with their front office. I hope the coaching staff makes stupid choices. I hope you give up all the walk-off home runs. I hope you lose painfully and this team brings you nothing but joy. But the rest of your life is fine, so everything's cool. That's how I feel for my Astros friends, and even the rest of you who are probably nice people who are Astros fans. That's how I hope you feel. I hope your lives are great, but I hope your baseball team sucks and they suck forever. And I hope that my team is the one to put them in the dirt. This is the series that I always dreaded, but part of me was terrified and hopeful for. I mean, because the Rangers felt like all year they were on the ascendant. They are on the come up. This is the year. Everything's turning around. It was, Rangers on top when the AL West gained another team in those dumb, lowly Houston Astros, the absolute garbage, the Lastros that they were, and then the Rangers put them further in the dirt when they thought they were on the come up in 2015 and 16. Truly some amazing regular seasons. I wish the Rangers could have won some playoff games so that I would remember those seasons more fondly, but holding off those upstart Astros in 2015 and 16 was great. And then the script flipped tremendously on a dime overnight. Just boom. Astros are your daddy. Astros are winning. Astros are a juggernaut, and they are really annoying. And then they have the whole trash can scandal, and then they get even more annoying and keep winning after that. Unfortunately, don't have the decency to crumble into the ground after that scandal. It really rude of them. But hey, if you want to be the champs, you got to beat the champs. And right now, the Houston Astros are the reigning champions. And they have done what no other, to this point, maybe the Braves end up pulling it off, but what no other of these teams that got a bye did, and they took care of business against the Twins. And this is mainly my nightmare because the Rangers have had a phenomenal season. It has been very good. I know it ended poorly. You would have liked to have won the AL West. You would have liked to have not started on the road. But hey, they swept the 99-win Tampa Bay Rays. They swept the 101-win Baltimore Orioles. And here they are in the ALCS. I mean, the Rangers have not lost a postseason game in the Bruce Bochy, Evan Carter, Chris Young era. And that's amazing. And before the Astros won the ALDS and took the opposite spot in the ALCS against the Rangers, this is the only way that the Rangers could have a potentially bad season. You leave with a bad taste in your mouth. Yeah, I mean, if the Rangers got eliminated in the ALCS against the Twins, it would have hurt, but not anywhere near this. And you'd at least get to rub it in Astros fans' faces of, my team went farther than yours, so much for your ALCS streak of however many years that lasted. But now, and even if you lost in the World Series to the Diamondbacks or the Phillies or the Braves, then it's like, well, you made it to the World Series in year one of Bruce Bochy and turned around a 94-loss team into a 90-win team that went to the World Series, and maybe you came up close or maybe you got swept. Whatever the case was, it's okay. That's pretty darn good year one of Bruce Bochy, even with all the injuries and stuff that you sustained. Now, you have a chance to have your season ended by the Houston Astros. I don't think I need to tell y'all how painful this could be. I mean, as Rangers fans, we've experienced a lot of pain. We have experienced going up 2-0 in the ALDS and then getting reverse swept by the Blue Jays, getting just regular swept by the Blue Jays in the, I think the reverse sweep was the one with the Jose Bautista bat flip Hall of Fame, which, they didn't end up winning the World Series. I don't know why that keeps getting replayed as the greatest bat flip ever, which it was amazing, and I do love bat flips and all the nonsense that happened after that. But I mean, the 2012 collapse, the 2013 Game 162, I mean, 2011, 2010. I mean, how many other times? Not to mention the 90s playoff losses to the Yankees, and the losing the division on the final day this year. Like, there's been a lot of heartbreak for Rangers, but I guarantee you if the Rangers lose this series to the Astros, I'm pretty darn sure, I don't know about you, make your own decisions, but this will be like, it'll make David Freese look like, someone I don't care about. It has caused me no pain in comparison to what's on the line here. But conversely, if the Rangers knock out the Astros, and if they beat them anywhere near as badly as they beat the Baltimore Orioles or the Tampa Bay Rays, then that is like freaking Christmas. I mean, that is Christmas, New Year's, birthday, Labor Day, whatever holiday you love, Halloween, all wrapped up, Thanksgiving, all wrapped up into one. Like, that is something I hope I'm not toxic about if it happens, but I can make no promises to my Houston fan friends. If you're an Astros fan and a friend of mine and you follow me on Twitter, just go ahead and mute me now, because I guarantee you I'm going to be absolutely insufferable if the Texas Rangers win, and I will never stop gloating about it, no matter what happens for the rest of time. If the Rangers are able to knock out the Houston Astros and take that pedestal as the team in the AL West, hopefully the team in the AL, and hopefully the team in baseball as the one that everybody else is chasing. That's what's on the line here. You all know it. You have plenty of Astros friends yourself. If you're an Astros fan, then you probably have Rangers fans that are friends or family or loved ones, or maybe your kids are Rangers fans because they like cheering for the Rangers. I don't know. But there's somebody, I guarantee you there is somebody in your life that is a fan of the team that you hate most, and they are never going to let you down if your team loses it. Everything is on the line. I'm sure neutral fans are just stoked through the moon. I saw a tweet about, this not having national appeal. I call bull crap. These are two very good teams. These are two teams on the opposite ends of the spectrum of have been there forever and new up-and-comer. These are two beloved managers in Bruce Bochy and Dusty Baker, who everybody in baseball loves. These are star-studded lineups. These are star-studded pitching rotations, great bullpens. Like, this is going to be some fantastic baseball outside of the storylines of these two teams and fan bases hate each other. It is going to be some absolutely sensational baseball that is probably going to send us all into a coma because of how intense it's about to be. Coming up, we're going to look at where the Rangers have the edge and 5 keys to taking down those stinking Houston Astros in the ALCS. But first, this word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Sleeper. The MLB playoffs are here, which means the clock is ticking on your chance to win 100 times your cash on daily fantasy baseball. Baseball has never been more exciting than it is now, with studs like Corey Seager and Marcus Semien and Adolis Garcia and no one on the stinking Houston Astros. So you can pick more or less on stats for these stars like home runs, hits, strikeouts, and more for up to a 100 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right and you could win big. Do you think that Nathan Eovaldi is going to throw an absolute gem in this series? Do you think Marcus Semien is going to go off against a team that he has very much gone off against? You can do so by using our promo code LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit on Sleeper. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Shout out to the everydayers making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. On Sunday's show, I'll be talking about Game 1 of this ALCS live right after it happens. You can catch every pitch with the hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search Rangers. Now, there are a few keys to this series, but I think a big one is going to be Marcus Semien. Just one thing I want to touch on is Semien not having the best playoffs so far. In 5 games, he's got just 4 hits, 2 doubles, a pair of walks, a pair of RBIs, hitting just 174 with an on-base of 240 and slugging just 261. That is a 501 OPS, which is the lowest of any Rangers hitter in the playoffs so far, I believe, as of this. Hold on, where we go? Yeah, all these players. Where we go? Actually, no. There's Robbie Grossman, who has a 414 OPS. He didn't land in the qualifiers. But Marcus Semien hasn't had the best playoffs so far. It's fine. The Rangers haven't needed him to be sensational. Against the Astros, they're going to need every single bat that they can get. And you may remember, Marcus Semien has some bad blood against this Astros team, as do, I think, all the Rangers, but him specifically, especially in that game where the Rangers went down to Houston and beat down the Astros after losing 2 incredibly painful 1-run games in the second series in Houston back at the end of July, where he got hit by a pitch by Framber Valdez after Yordan Alvarez was hit by a pitch very clearly accidentally by Andrew Heaney, who was up 0-2 in the count, and one just kind of slipped on him, and then Framber Valdez just drills Marcus Semien first pitch, maybe not. I think it was first pitch, actually, pretty early on. And Marcus Semien didn't like it. And then he hit an absolute tater off of Framber Valdez. And as the Rangers just freaking teed off against Framber Valdez. But it wasn't just that game that Marcus Semien absolutely lit up this Astros team. It is literally all year long. In 13 games against Houston, Marcus Semien has a slash line of 431, 509, 706, a 1214 OPS, 4 homers, 2 doubles in those 13 games versus Houston. This is a man on a mission against the Houston Astros. There is some vengeance in his heart. He wants to make this team sad. He wants to make them angry. He wants to make them go home and weep for their failures. And I love that about Marcus Semien. I would not be surprised at all to see him hit a leadoff home run into those Crawford boxes in Houston, just ambush a pitch. Probably more game 2 against Framber. That feels more likely of him just leading off the game up 1-0 against Framber Valdez. If Framber does go in Game 2 in Houston, there has not been a Game 2 starter announced yet for the Rangers or for the Astros. Game 1, the only starter announced is for the Astros, and that's, of course, going to be Justin Verlander. It's probably going to be Monty in Game 1. But let's look at where the Rangers have the edge on the Astros position by position. Catcher. Well, that feels pretty obvious. Jonah Heim is much better than Martin Maldonado, not only defensively, but offensively as well. Even if it's Yainer Diaz back there behind the plate, the complete package. Jonah Heim is one of, if not the best catchers in all of Major League Baseball. He made his defensive impact felt against Baltimore with that caught stealing, with a bunch of pitches in the dirt blocked with the way he calls games, and he hasn't done much with the bat so far this postseason. He's got a 273 on base, slugging just 238, which is his batting average as well, so no extra base hits. But he had a couple of key RBIs, including one that drove Grayson Rodriguez from the game. He put together some pretty good at-bats, and I definitely think it's a massive edge to the Rangers. Now, first base, I think this could swing. If you ask me for the full season, obviously it's Nathaniel Lowe. He had a better season than the big money signing, the Cuban MVP in Jose Abreu. But lately, Abreu has freaking turned it on in the playoffs. A multi-home run game in, I believe it was the clincher, one of these games. He's just been on an absolute tear, Jose Abreu has. So I'm giving that edge to him. Second base, it's close as of right now. Jose Altuve has not been having his usual Jose Altuve self in the postseason, but again, it's 3 games. He's still got a leadoff homer, and he was pretty darn good against the Twins. Not sensational, but pretty darn good, and he's really darn good against the Rangers, including that final series of the year these two teams played, where I believe he hit approximately 87 home runs in that 3-game span. So I got to give the edge to the Astros there. But then you look at shortstop, it's Corey Seager. Pretty undoubtedly Corey Seager. And then you look at third base. Bregman's been fine in the postseason, fine in the regular season, but Josh Young is the all-star starter, and he has been really great in the playoffs. I mean, he's got 5 games. He's played in all 5 games. He's got 3 doubles. He's got a triple. He's got a home run. He's got somehow just 3 RBIs because he's been hitting in the 8th spot in the order. But a slash line of 400, 409, slugging 800, a 1209 OPS. He's been hitting in the 8 hole. I don't know if he's going to stay there. He just might. The strikeout rate's been fine, honestly. The walk rate, he's got 1 walk to 5 strikeouts, but he's got 20 at bats. So like it's really good, and I really have loved what I've seen from him in left field. Now, this is tricky because the Astros have played 4 games because they have lost a playoff game, unlike the Texas Rangers, who are undefeated in the playoffs so far. Hopefully that sticks around for another 2 rounds, and the Rangers can just go completely undefeated in the entire postseason and win the World Series. I don't know if that's necessarily likely because this Astros team is pretty darn good. But in left field, it's either been Yordan Alvarez or it has been Michael Brantley. If it's Michael Brantley there, they've switched off between DH and left field, literally 2 games apiece for each at each position. But if it's Michael Brantley in left field, then I give Evan Carter the edge over him. If it's Yordan Alvarez, you can't give it to anybody but Yordan Alvarez. If it's at DH, Mitch Garver has the edge. So of these 4 players, the Rangers, for these 2 positions, the Rangers have 2 of them that are better, the second and third best in here, but Yordan Alvarez is just an absolute freak. So wherever he is, he has the edge there. At center field, it is either Leody Taveras or I believe it is Dubon who has been playing in center field quite a bit. Yeah, a little bit of Dubon for them and a little bit of Chas McCormick. Actually, I don't know that Dubon has played in the playoffs. It has been mainly Chas McCormick, but McCormick hasn't been that great. He's been fine in the playoffs, honestly. Not elite, but Leody Taveras has really provided a whole lot of value in the center field spot and while hitting either 8th or 9th in the order, mainly 9th now that Evan Carter is probably never going to be hitting in the 9 hole ever again. But I've loved what I've seen from him. He's got 5 hits. He's got a double. He's hitting 263 with an on base of 364. That is what you want. 3 walks to 4 strikeouts and a pair of stolen bases. He's been a menace. He's been very good defensively. I give him the edge for the full season. It's been Chas. Chas has been a fantastic player and has been a real thorn in the side against the Rangers. But right now, I'm giving the edge to Leody Taveras because I just love what he's doing. In right field, it's Adolis Garcia. It's just Adolis Garcia right now. There's not been the best postseason for Kyle Tucker. He has been sensational for years, but so far he hasn't done much of anything in the playoffs. His final game against the Twins, he went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. He's got a 508 OPS and hitting just 143, whereas Adolis Garcia has been much better than that. He has been hitting 292 and an 875 OPS with a pair of home runs, including the most jaw-dropping, sensational, wonderful, joy-producing home run that I have ever seen the Texas Rangers hit. Maybe, no, well, I don't know, in years, in a long time, with that 3-run bomb to put to death the Baltimore Orioles. And then, like I said, at DH, it's kind of a push. Starting pitching, I think the Rangers have the edge here. I don't think it's particularly close, at least in the top two. And it will depend a lot on how much the Rangers can get from Max Scherzer and John Gray, if they can get anything from them. We still don't know at this point. I'm not sure we'll know until maybe Sunday when the rosters are announced, and we'll see then. But I've been looking on Twitter for some updates. I thought we'd get some. They said we'd know more about how Scherzer and John Gray are doing about a day after they threw their sim game. They threw their sim game on Wednesday. It is Thursday at 2:52 p.m. Central Time now, and I've seen no updates. So, but the top two, I think Verlander is beatable. Fromber got beaten, and as good as Urquidy and Javier looked, I think that was more of they matched up really well against what the Twins didn't do well than the fact that they are just absolutely unhittable right now. I think the Rangers can get to them. I think they can get to all the stars, Justin Verlander included, so I give the Rangers the edge. Bullpen, it's the Astros. It's not particularly close. I love Jose Leclerc. He's been doing really great. I don't trust Aroldis Chapman against these Astros at all because he has been beaten badly by them in the regular season and in the postseason many, many times. I am terrified of him in a clutch spot blowing a game. And Josh Sborz has been hit or miss, but the long guys in this pen, I think, are really good and are going to be very important in Martin Perez, Cody Bradford, and Dane Dunning, and maybe Andrew Heaney, depending on who gets to start and how healthy those guys are. But it's still a major edge to the Astros in the bullpen. Defensively, I think the Rangers have the edge here. They just don't have any weak positions at all. At first base, Jose Abreu is not that great defensively, and Martin Maldonado, for being a defense-first catcher, has not been that great defensively this year in terms of pitch framing, in terms of throwing out runners. And in left field, you've got either Michael Brantley or Yordan Alvarez, neither of which are winning a Gold Glove ever. And the Rangers have Evan Carter out there. So I think the edge goes to the Texas Rangers because they have absolutely no weak links on their defense. Not a massive edge, but I think enough. And in terms of the manager, I think it's Bruce Bochy. He just has such a feel for how to use his pen at the right time. I mean, look at how well he has managed this bullpen and how well they have done with the parts that he has been given, with the starts that he's done, when to keep Heaney in there, when to pull him out, when to keep Dane Dunning in there, and going with Cody Bradford for as long as he did and getting the success he did out of him. It's been sensational at it. So I give Bruce Bochy and the Texas Rangers the edge on the manager. Coming up, we're going to look at 5 keys to the Rangers dethroning those stinking Houston Astros and winning this series and going to the World Series for the 3rd time in franchise history. But first, this word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. October baseball is back, and you can make your postseason debut with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Join FanDuel today, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to create your new account. Then get in on the action from the first pitch until the final out. Bet on everything from strikeouts to home runs to who will win the game. And if you don't want to wait the whole game to get a W, predict what will happen in the next at-bat with quick bets. So head on over to FanDuel.com/lockedon right now. Step up to the plate this postseason with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Shout out to the Everydayers for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. On Monday night's show, I'll be back doing a live recap show of Game 2. I'll be actually live after all the remaining Rangers postseason games. You can catch every pitch with the hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search Rangers. Now, here's what I think the rotation will look like for the first 4 games. It'll be Jordan Montgomery probably for Game 1 versus Justin Verlander. Then I'm assuming Nathan Eovaldi versus Framber Valdez in Game 2. Max Scherzer, we'll see if that's the case, against Christian Javier in Game 3. And Sonny Gray, again, if healthy, Game 4 versus Jose Urquidy. I feel more confident that the Astros rotation will look like that than the Rangers will. But that's kind of how it'll be. And in terms of who I would take off and on the roster to get both those guys on there, if they're both healthy, then I would probably take off Matt Bush and I think Brock Burke. no. I think I'd go with taking off Will Smith. He has pitched in lower leverage. Hasn't pitched for the Rangers in quite a while, and definitely hasn't pitched in a high leverage spot in quite some time. And I think they just trust Burke a little bit more at this point. But there are 5 keys to beating those stinking Houston Astros heading to the World Series. And let's start with number 1. Now, number 1, you've got to win the Jordan Montgomery and Nathan Eovaldi games. You just absolutely have to. I mean, I don't know what we can expect from Max Scherzer or John Gray or whoever else happens to be starting those games, but you just have to win those games. They have to give you the edge. They have to be good, or at least good enough, and you have to take those. If you win all of those games, or at least 3 out of 4, then you have to win literally 1 out of the other 4 games to take this series and head to the World Series. You have a big advantage. I think Nathan Eovaldi is going to be by far the best pitcher in this series. I think Jordan Montgomery could be the second best starting pitcher in this series. I think it matches up well. Jordan Montgomery only threw 1 game against the Astros this year, and Nathan Eovaldi only threw 1 game where he was actually healthy against the Astros this year. But Montgomery threw 6 2/3 innings of 2-run ball. Just one of those was earned. A solo shot, of course, by Martin Maldonado was the only one that scored. This was back when he was pitching for the Cardinals on June 27th, just a little bit, about a month-ish before he joined the Rangers. And the Astros were still not doing super great at that point, but a really good performance by him. And then Nathan Eovaldi had the 7 shutout innings against the Astros in the 1 game the Rangers won in that 4-game series in Arlington. But yeah, these Astros hitters are very good. And the starting pitching is okay, and the bullpen is sensational. So, I mean, really, you got to win those games with Jordan Montgomery or Nathan Eovaldi on the hill. Now, number 2 key for this team to beating the stinking Houston Astros is the bottom third of this lineup really needs to come through. I mean, we've seen it from Josh Young batting in the 8-hole. We've seen some pretty good at-bats from Leody Taveras, including that 2-run double that tied the game in Game 2 against the Orioles. We saw him be a menace on the base paths, and we saw Nathaniel Lowe hit maybe the most cathartic home run I think I've ever seen a person hit to just make the game completely even further out of reach. In Game 3, he also had that 15-pitch at-bat that seemed to get him going, and he absolutely bodied that home run that he hit in the ALDS, and he has been in a rough way. He's been in his head ever since that maybe misplay in Game 162 that led to the only run in a 1-0 loss that lost the Rangers the division on the final day of the season, and you could tell he was beating himself up about it, but I love the way his teammates picked him back up and credited him with that 15-pitch at-bat that really broke the game open. They got the starting pitcher, Dean Kremer, on the ropes, and the rest of the Rangers hitters took advantage and took him to town and got him out of that game. And a lot of it was because Nathaniel Lowe got him worked into a frenzy with those 15 pitches that he saw. And I think he's primed to absolutely go off. I really hope we get to see some great Nathaniel Lowe. We have seen greatness from Josh Young, and the Rangers have a deeper batting lineup than the Astros do. I mean, it's just deeper at this point. I mean, the 7, 8, and 9 guys for the Astros at this point are Chas McCormick, who has a 728 OPS in 3 postseason games, and Jeremy Pena, who's got a 646 OPS in 4 however many postseason games, and Martin Maldonado with a 398 OPS in his postseason games so far this year. So the Rangers had the advantage of being deeper. I mean, they both have 2 otherworldly left-handed hitters in Yordan Alvarez and Corey Seager. And so the depth of this lineup is what broke the Orioles and what broke the Rays, and it needs to be how you break the Houston Astros. Now, number 3, key to this game, key to beating the stinking Houston Astros, is start fast. You got to get a lead on these Astros. You have got to get them. You got to get to them early, because if you go into the 8th and 9th innings against Brian Abreu and Ryan Presley, you're just done. You're just absolutely done. Hector Neris has given up some big home runs, but he's also come up big. I mean, in the clinching game against the Twins, Hector Neris went an inning and a third with 1 walk, no hits, 3 strikeouts. Brian Abreu comes in, perfect inning with 2 strikeouts. Ryan Presley comes in, strikeout. You cannot get behind to this Astros team because their bullpen is just too darn good. The Rangers have gotten to these guys a couple of times during the year, but for your own safety, for your health and safety, get out to an early lead and get it even further. Get those Astros starting pitchers out of the game early. Get into the heart of their bullpen. Get into these guys who are not as good. Make them eat a bunch of innings. Make them use relievers they don't want to use. And put yourself in an advantageous position for the next game. Number 4, key to beating the stinking Houston Astros. Don't pitch to Yordan Alvarez. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. There's no need. Jose Abreu might beat you. And if he does, you tip your hat and you say, you know what? Good job. You beat us. Oh, well. But, I mean, Yordan Alvarez is on another level right now. He's hitting .438 with an on-base of .471 and an OPS of 1784. The man has 4 home runs in 16 at-bats. You just don't pitch to him. It doesn't matter if it's righty, lefty. Just don't pitch to Yordan Alvarez. Just don't do it. And number 5 key to beating the stinking Houston Astros and going on to the World Series is just never let up. Do not take off for a second. Do not give up at bats. Do not let these Astros pitchers get easy innings. Do not let them get easy anything. Even if you have a huge lead, keep attacking those hitters, whether you're a starting pitcher or a hitter. Like, just keep working them, grind them down, beat them down, leave no doubt. Because if you give them a smidge of hope, they will come back on you and they will destroy you and ruin your day and ruin your year and ruin your mental health by beating you and making you very sad. So, basically, win the Monty Evo games, bottom third of the lineup, come through, start fast, keep your foot on the gas pedal, don't pitch to Yordan, and never let up. Those are the 5 keys to beating these stinking Houston Astros. I think this is doable. I think my prediction is the Rangers win in 6 games. I'm hoping that it's just a sweep. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. And Max Scherzer looks amazing and John Gray looks amazing, but that's not necessarily realistic. If it goes back to a Game 7 in Houston, I don't think I'll survive. I'm hoping the Rangers get it done in fewer than that. This Astros team is not the team of old. They are beatable. They are not as good as they look. They are not as deep as they look. This is a Rangers team that is clicking on every cylinder that has ever existed right now. Offensively, pitching-wise, defensively. There's not a single facet of this game where the Rangers are not doing well. And they are about to get some reinforcements in hopefully Max Scherzer and John Gray. And even if they don't, they've gone 5-0 against 2 teams that combined to win 200 games in the regular season that were better than the Astros in the regular season. So just go do it to these Astros. You are facing them finally at a time when you are red hot, which you didn't really do all year round. And this is your time. Go take the crown from the champs, punch them in the mouth, keep punching until they are done, they are dead, they are beaten, they are sad at home sitting on their couches, and you are in the World Series. It's going to be a heck of a series. Absolutely terrified, absolutely enthralled. Cannot wait to enjoy every single bit of it. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy ALCS Silver Boot Texas Rangers baseball.